Event Squid, software that thinks like you and works like 8 of you.
Hey folks, it's Matt from Event Squid with another video tutorial. Today, I want to show you how to use our member roster utility for registrant validation. For example, let's say your event offers a discounted rate for members. With this setup, you want to make sure that people who claim to be members are actually valid and deny folks access to the member rate if they are not valid. To do this, we can use the member roster utility. It allows you to construct a list of emails against which your custom registration form can check for the existence of a membership. Let's dive in. We need to begin the process by creating our membership roster. On the dashboard, click the Manage Organization tab at the top. Select the Member Roster option on the left. To create a member roster, you can either upload a spreadsheet of members or add folks one by one. Click the Import Members button. Below, you'll see a list of allowable data fields that can be included in your spreadsheet. For member status, you can type valid or invalid. Only valid members will be permitted to pass through once we set up the registration form. Note that you are not required to provide all fields. At a minimum, provide the first and last name, email address, and member status. The key here is that registrants are validated based on email address. The email address is the unique identifier to all registrants in our system. Therefore, in this instance, the email address is the primary key that links registrants to your member table. When ready, copy the full data set from your spreadsheet, then click the Load Spreadsheet button above. Now paste the data. Click the Step 2 button. Next, map the columns in your spreadsheet to the field of data they should correspond to in the system. If you named your columns the exact same as the data fields, this step should be pretty easy. Click the Step 3 button. In the final step, make sure to elect whether or not you copied the column headers when transferring your data set from Excel to Event Squid. Check the box if you copied the column headers. Now click Done. When the records are uploaded successfully, our system will present you with a summary of the data inputted. Take note that our system will not import duplicate records based on the email address provided for each record. Once confirmed, you'll have your member list. You can also customize the message that is presented to users who fail the validation test. Click the link, then edit the message. Now let's structure our event to validate against the roster we just created. Enter the event builder. Select the registration tab at the top. Then click the Registration Items tool on the left. Look below at the set of items we have created for this example event. The member registration rate is $199. The non-member rate is $299, hence the discount. Below, you'll also see a set of 5 tracks. Both non-members and members have access to these. Below that, you'll see a VIP reception option. This is for members only. In order to separate our options, we need to create 2 custom forms, one for members and one for non-members. Scroll up and click the Custom Profiles tool on the left. Click the New Profile button to create 2 custom forms, then name them appropriately. Now click to edit the member profile. Check the box next to each item that should be assigned to the member profile. Once assigned, click the Back to Profiles button at the top left. Check the box to activate the member profile. Let's do the same thing for non-members now. Return to the profile list, then activate the non-member profile. Now, we need to configure the member profile so that it denies access to those that are not on the membership roster. Recall that registrants are required to fill out an email address at the beginning of registration. This email address will be used to validate someone's presence on the roster. To set up the member form for validation, click the Edit button to modify the profile. From here, we need to activate a special form prompt that will enforce the validation. Currently, this profile is set to default. In order to customize the prompt list for this particular profile, we need to release the profile from the default settings. Flip the Uses Default Settings switch in the upper right corner to change the profile to custom. Now select the Form Prompts tab at the top. In the prompt list below, check the box next to the Must Be a Valid Member prompt. This prompt will validate all registrants that attempt to use the member profile against your roster. To test, try registering for the member profile when your email is not on the roster. You'll notice that although you can enter the member form, you are prohibited to proceed beyond the first section. If you're not on the roster, the system will present a warning. Upon dismissal, you will be booted from the registration form. To run a follow-up test, add yourself to the membership roster. Instead of doing a member import this time, you can add yourself as an individual. There's one more factor we'd like you to consider. In our example event, you are permitted to register yourself or someone else under their email. In both instances, the registrant is required to submit an email address. This allows our system to validate members against the roster. However, recall that there is a third method for registration called subaccount. Let's take a look. Enter the event builder. Then select the Activate and Publish tab in the upper right. Select the Methods tool on the left. Above third-party registration, you'll see that subaccount registration is yet another alternative. This permits the user to register someone else underneath their own email. In this case, the person being registered does not submit an email for themselves. However, when it comes to member validation, EventSquid still takes this into consideration. Go ahead and activate the subaccount registration by clicking the Allow option. Now return to the registration form. You'll see the third option appear. Since you are required to be logged into the system as a master account when registering a subaccount, the registration will still ultimately have an email tied to it. So long as the master account email is valid on the roster, the subaccount will be permitted for registration. If you'd like, you can give it a test with your own email. We hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. Let us know if you have any questions.